trans women feel... he has no idea what he's talking about. I know.
She was about to make a statement, and then she's like, ooh, actually, I don't have any idea what the I'm talking about.
All right, well, you keep repeating the same thing, and I keep explaining...
And it doesn't make it less true, Sam.
Well, it makes it...
You know what he did? The Majority Report took the song we released, Only Ever Wanted, and ran it through a filter to make it sound bad, and then made fun of us for having bad music. Like, the dude legit is fake. And it wasn't him personally, it was his people who put a filter on our song to make it sound bad. But, like, that's a really good example of what you get when you watch someone like Sam Seder.
Listen. Counselor.
Okay,
removal
pause
of the gonad.
So I guess sterilization should be outlawed, even if people want it. No opportunity if you want to get your tubes tied.
It's the same dog shit arguments. Would you let a 12-year-old get her tubes tied? Jesus Christ. It's all so... These guys are like the pros, too. These are like the professional... These guys talk about politics like every single day. How do you not have something better than this?
Come on, man. Look, the same reason that I haven't ever had a conversation with Sam Seder is the same reason that Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Brett Weinstein, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro don't owe him anything. It's based on a lie, Ethan. Just like you claiming my booker reached out to you, Ethan, when you know that's not true.
What's the lie?
There's no one ducking you.
There's a woman named Emma Vigeland. She's on the Majority Report, I guess. And she had a clip going viral today talking about how if you want to feel safe on public transit, this is bourgeois. And you have to suppress those bourgeois feelings. You have to make yourself feel okay about being abused on the public transportation system.
I was hit at one point sitting on the subway by a man who was having a mental health episode. He sat next to me and he was elbowing and kind of flailing around and hit me in the face and in my body. And it was jarring, right? The idea that I would want him to be hurt in any way, I just didn't want to be near him in that moment because I understood something was going on here. But like my fear is not the primary object of like what we should be focusing on right now. It's the fact that this person is in pain. And so like the politics of dehumanization privileges the bourgeois kind of concern of people's like immediate discomfort in this narrow instance, as opposed to larger humanity and life. It's really freaking twisted.
Being beat up, being physically abused is now being part of the larger spectrum of humanity. Isn't that wonderful? You are expected by the hard left to now undergo being abused on the public transit system in order to create a more diverse and wonderful society. I mean, good luck with this pitch, guys. Seriously, good luck to you in all your future endeavors. Because let me tell you something that nobody likes. Right, left, center. Being yelled at, beat up, assaulted on the subway system. Nobody likes that crap.
Shitty fuck. And it's funny, too, coming from her, because you know she hasn't fucked anybody in 30 fucking years. You can tell by the attitude. What a dog shit fucking attack that she would make on him when she doesn't know anything about trans people's anatomy. When somebody right across from her literally just said, who gives a fuck if trans women feel pleasure or not? What a dog shit personal attack to make on Tim when she's not... Like, what a stupid fucking attack to make. Holy shit. Oh my God, dude. Oh God, it's actually so fucking cringe. Okay, that was kind of weird to say. She's literally saying Tim sucks. She's saying Tim can't sexually satisfy his partners. That's what a bizarro fucking statement to make. Why would you say that? That's retarded as fuck.
Like Tyson, it doesn't mean that I'm ducking him.
You are so worried about
Why do you feel that? Why do you feel that
anyone?
Sam, why do you feel that anyone owes you airtime when you have a 40th of the audience and you've been doing the show for 10 times as long?
Where I was having a conversation with Emma Vigeland of the Majority Report co-host, and considering what we saw with this Pride event, I want to play this clip and discuss it more in depth. So I'm going to play it for you now. Here we go. You're the one arguing for.
You're the one arguing for censorship.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really mind that stuff. I mean, are you in favor of children seeing violence on television?
No.
That scares me a little bit more.
It depends. It's not so simple to say violence, right? But yes, censorship is a good thing, but when done bad is a bad thing.
Yeah.
For instance, Ian Crossland, who is a co-host on Timcast IRL, used to be a moderator for Minds.com, and he had to filter out graphic depictions of murder and rape and child abuse. Censorship is absolutely vital in that regard. So if we're talking about a book like, in particular, there was one called, there was a teacher who provided a book to her middle schoolers called This Book is Gay. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have heard. That's actually a very good book.
And it provides instruction on she provided instruction to children on how to use adult gay anonymous sex apps. Yeah, I don't think that's appropriate. Now, look, by all means, you can be in favor of them.
Maybe she had a child. Maybe she had a child in her classroom
who wanted to go on Grindr and have sex with adults. Is that your argument?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that. First of all, I don't know. Again, this is
why would
another,
a 10-year-old need Grindr?
This is the thing that you do, though, Tim.
Oh, that
You're
I do.
picking specific examples that
You
are
asked me for
inflammatory.
one. You asked me for one.
Okay, then go ahead. I
did.
don't
We
know
have the book.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
said, don't show children blowjobs.
Look,
You said you appreciate it.
I'm not in favor of censorship.
This book is gay. Is a book that teaches the individual reading it how to use adult sex apps. And holy crap, there are things described in that book that, you know, I can't even describe.
I'm buying it.
The book describes things that go well beyond sex and kink into what I would describe as dangerous behavior that can result in serious. Look, when they talk about consuming feces, and it goes beyond that.
Wow.
I'm like, you're talking about things that can cause serious harm to a person, let alone a child. When she says it's a great book and defends the idea that children would get it, I have to wonder. I almost don't have to wonder. It's a question of, do we really think these people just don't know what they're talking about? Does she actually, does Emma actually want children to have sex with adults?
Emma had one thing on her mind when she came in here, and that was disagree with Tim Pool. There was not any brain function going on. She was just, what does Tim Pool say? Challenge it. Because the whole thing,
dude, but
she's an idiot.
No, maybe, but that's giving them the benefit of the doubt when they're trying to get kids on Grindr.
No, Emma is not like she is. Her head is so empty. And that, like, the whole point of her coming here was to get something that, and the same thing goes for like the Minority Report or whatever.
Majority Report.
They're just looking to dunk on Tim Pool. She came here hoping to get some kind of way to dunk on Tim Pool. So now Emma is a useful idiot. That's why she was like screaming about supporting trans women in women's sports, because even if it hurts some of the competitors.
You're saying Emma Vigeland's advocacy for pedophilia isn't that she herself is a pedophile, but that she stands opposed to like institutions, laws, and
anything on the right, anything that comes out of your mouth, she's going to oppose.
She did this thing where after the show, she claimed she wasn't cool enough to see the skate park. It's the weirdest thing in the world, because I said earlier, maybe when she pulled up and parked, she didn't notice she was in a skate park, because the front of the property is the skate park.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe they pulled up into the far space and just walked right in the green room door, and she didn't notice because she didn't look anywhere. Then I found out from staff she was actually right in the middle of it. She was standing in the middle of the skate park. There's ramps everywhere. There's rails and ledges. You can see everything. There's like a big speaker for music. And then she called and said, I didn't get to see the skate park. And I'm like, that's a really weird thing to lie about.
She will trip over the grinding rail that is right at the front of the house if you're not careful. You will fall over that.
She was downstairs is a mini ramp, not a skate park. She was the skate park is the barn, and there's a massive 24-foot long vert wall. It's an 8-foot vert, 8-foot wide vert, and then there's a 20-foot or a 16-foot 4-foot section. You park right in front of it, and you're surrounded by ramps. It's a weird thing to lie about. She could have said, "Well, I did get to see the skate park. I didn't get to see their ramp though." She was offered a tour and poker with the boys. When the show wrapped, I said, "We're all gonna hang out. We have sushi that's here, bubble tea, cheeseburgers. We put on some music. We hang out at the table. We play a micro stakes poker game, basically poker for fun, not for money. And we can show you around." She goes, "No, I can't. I've got to run." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Thanks for coming." And what does she do? They wouldn't show me anything.
It was so that way she could slime the people here. Yeah, it wasn't like a ha Tim. It wasn't a good natured joke. It wasn't because she wanted to be humorous and be fun. It was a way to slime Tim and her experience here, even though Tim was polite, kind, and
this
nice
is exactly what Sam Seder did.
Exactly.
When we invited him on the show, I said, I know exactly what he's going to do. It's low tier WWE political garbage.
But she's like just vacuous.
Yeah, no, because it's WWE to them. So I'm like, we can have her on the show. And I said it would be with another person to discuss ideas. So we got Sean Fitzgerald. And what does she do? Before the show, we were like, hey, let's open with crime and talk about Jordan Williams, this guy in New York who's, he was a black guy. People are saying he's not getting the same support as Penny because he's black. And she goes, yeah, of course, absolutely. As soon as the show starts, what does she do? E-drama, WWE garbage. She goes into greater detail. We talked for like 20 minutes about how she explicitly said she did not care if 10-year-olds were shown blowjobs.
I think she's out of line.
She's not.
I think you need censorship for stuff like that. That's an argument I'll have with her.
They're having a show where they advocate for pedophilia at a time where they're chanting, we're coming for your children, and they produced a 50-person chorus called We're Coming for Your Children. When has the left ever been against censorship? For her to be like, I oppose censorship, it's like, oh, please. They complain that someone says a naughty word on the internet and they want them all banned. Then when it comes to the issue of pedophilia, she's like, I'm not even gonna quote her. When it comes to the issue of pedophilia and a teacher trying to get her students of 10 years old to use Grindr, she defends it. You know what she could have said? She could have said, okay, like, yes, that's bad, but here's what I'm saying. She didn't say that. Dude, for 2.5 hours we talk, or like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and she's in every respect defending that they're doing these things. In every respect. And then it got to the point where I was like, I don't understand. And it's probably like Phil said, whatever it is we agree on, no matter what, they oppose, no matter what. So I'm like, why? I was like, isn't it in your interest to have Joe Biden like out to get somebody else? So when we come out and we're like, hey, here's evidence Joe Biden's corrupt, shouldn't you just be like, oh? And she's like, no, it's not true. And I'm like, wait, what? No, it is true. As for Emma, maybe it is fair to say, no matter what it is you advocate for, she will be against. If I say, hey, look, here's evidence Joe Biden's corrupt, she goes, nuh-uh. I'm like, but you hate Joe Biden.
It's personal, Tim. It was all about, like, it was personal about you. Anybody that was here obviously would have been a representative of Timcast, but, like, the whole thing was they want clips. They were hoping to get clips, but Emma was just incapable of producing something that would be compelling for them, other than, oh, he didn't show me his skate park.
I wonder if they feel, I kind of felt like Emma felt a little bit of shame because I know that the thing she said about neo-Nazis, she was told to say, probably by Sam. And afterwards, when the show wrapped, and she steps out of the room for a bit, we are all talking about it, about this is the issue with the Majority Report. Sam Seder is blacklisted from a bunch of big networks and podcasts. Yeah. He got fired from MSNBC, I think. And this is explicitly why. As has been iterated to me by a lot of people, that he's an unserious person who just tries to gamify people for bad faith politics. And then, as she's walking back in the room, Sean was like, oh, the neo-Nazi thing is like out of line. It's like, it's not a real debate. It's not a real political argument. It's just an intentionally destructive to the political space. Yeah. And then she is looking down. She wouldn't look us in the eyes at all the whole time.
Like, she had made a big stink about the amount of money that they don't make, and didn't want to admit that it's because there's not really an audience for it, or not the same kind of audience. She did mention, like you'd said earlier, one of the things that I wanted to push back on, she said over and over that she was covering serious political topics and et cetera. And I think that all of the Majority Report and her in particular, but I would assume the feeling is shared with most of the people over there, is just massive jealousy. They don't get invited up to Capitol Hill. They're not streaming their show from Congress, from congressional people's offices. They don't have the same kind of reach. They don't get the same kind of reaction from audiences and stuff. So I think,
but you're right. But that's like saying the people who intentionally choose not to shower are surprised that people don't want them around.
Absolutely. And that's exactly how people behave. I've smelled plenty of stinky people. Like people don't know that their breath stinks, or that they're offensive to other people, that their ideas or they behave in ways that push people away. If people realize that, there probably wouldn't be any incels. She enjoyed telling people that that it was about the politics and it wasn't for money and da 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 da. She was reveling in pointing out that she was morally superior. That was one of the things that was really so gross about it. She came here and had this air of superiority and we're better than you and we're blah blah blah. And it was just, I found it, as a big turnoff.
You know what I think? The Majority Report, I think they're like the incel equivalent of politics, where like you get a guy who's out of shape, doesn't have good social skills, says crude and rude things, smells bad, and has a poor diet. And then they get really jealous that people don't want to be friends with them. So they go online, they get really angry and start talking about how the world sucks and how bad it is. And I think that's what the Majority Report is. Because, you know, you have this big political space with a whole bunch of different commentators of different various backgrounds, all having debates and, you know, and getting along to varying degrees. And then you have the Majority Report where Sam gets like banned from a bunch of different shows, then complains about it. And then when people bring up that he's banned, what did Emma say? She's like, well, it's because they're scared of him. It's like
part of it, and because he's a dick. She was
no
like,
one's scared of him,
both.
dude.
It's probably both.
It's literally not.
It's